All right. We are live. Larry
Ooh.
Cornett, welcome to Small Talk.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's fun.
I am thrilled to have you here. And, we've talked off camera a bunch, and you are filled with wisdom and insights. And so I'm excited to share you with my audience here. So now you guys are, I've been selfish, sort of keeping you all to myself. So now you to enjoy the Larry Cornett experience. But today we are going to talk about empty nest syndrome.
Mm.
1 minute you are just helicoptering, parenting your kid. You're taking them to games and recitals, complaining about how much time they're taking out of your regular life. You're nagging them about cleaning their rooms. Then you look up and they're gone. There's an empty bedroom, right? There's an empty chair at the dinner table, and you can go days, sometimes weeks, without even hearing from them. And this is an important time for their development, and that it's very important, but it doesn't make it any easier. And there's a lot of sadness that goes with it. A lot of And then, some people maybe won't admit it, but some people feel a bit relieved. I definitely think the parents are the opposite of me that are kind of like, oh, thank God he's gone. So I wanted to bring you on to talk about this topic. And we don't exclusively have to talk about empty nesting. Things you and I can talk about. But I want to start with empty nesting. And so I am here with Larry Cornett. Larry, I wrote down a little introduction for you, but you are a former Silicon Valley executive with a PhD in psychology. Is that correct? Did I get that correct?
That's right. Yeah.
You spent decades building products and leading teams at Apple and Yahoo and eBay and more companies. Very impressive. But now you've transitioned, you coach people through their life pivots. Exactly what we are talking about today. So who could be a better person to have on than Larry to talk about this topic? So Larry, welcome to Small Talk Live.
Thank you. This is cool.
Tell us a little bit about what you do now. Like, tell us, I gave the little brief teaser, but tell us about how you what you were doing and why you decided to do what you're doing now.
Yeah. So I spent, going back to like 93, the gray beard will tell you that, working in Silicon Valley in tech. I started at IBM, and then I did Apple and eBay and Yahoo. And so it was software design, with, kind of my background in psychology, applying that, and got into product and became a leader and all that. But in 2010, kind of said, well, I'm a little tired of this. I'm going to take a break and just start doing some consulting. At a year, turned into 2, turned into 3, 5. And I was like, I guess I'm not going back.
Oh, man.
So, 15 years I've been out. And, I do some advisory work with companies, but I do mostly coaching for individuals. And it's been a mix of career and leadership coaching, business coaching, helping people start up a business and get out, which I did. And then now I'm getting into this life coaching stuff. And so I guess the umbrella I called empowerment coaching, because what I really want is people to feel empowered and confident and able to take control of their career, stop putting up with crap, feel powerful enough to step away and start their own thing if they want, start their own business. That's not for everyone, but it is for a lot of us, and in their own life. Like, what am I going to do with my life? Especially as you become older and you're Gen X and easing into semi-retirement, or whatever you want to call this. Having a great life and feeling empowered to do that and go after it. So,
Is that are a lot of your clients in our demographic, 40s, 50s, early 60s?
Yeah, I definitely have a lot of 40s and 50s. I'd say I get younger people too, which is interesting. So some of them are very,
I just wrote this story about how, Gen Xers are, hopefully we're sort of in our Yoda phase of
yes.
And I'm always disappointed that, younger people don't, look to us at least for a little guidance. Because we have seen a lot.
Yeah. Some want to get a leg up on it. I'm very impressed. They're like, hey, I'm going to jumpstart my career and give me your advice. They're doing the Yoda thing. They're like the Luke Skywalker showing up. They're like, hey, tell me how to skip through some of the garbage that everybody else is putting up with.
I wish I had a mentor back when I was.
Me too. Absolutely.
So again, with having you on, I'm definitely going to have you on more than one. So get ready. But I thought, I was trying to figure out like what's one topic we could talk about today, because we obviously you and I could talk about a million different things. And I focused on empty nesting because it came up I think in one of our discussions.
Yeah.
And I know you're an empty nester,
Yes.
or you have an empty nest. You oversee an empty nest. So I wanted to tell us a little bit about your situation in terms of your kids. Are they're grown up, or tell us a little bit about
Yeah. Yeah, they're all in their 20s now.
Okay.
The youngest is 22. So I have 2 sons and a daughter. My older daughter and son are both in Alaska.
Oh,
So
wow.
they've got careers and they're in Alaska and we go and visit them, which is amazing. And then my youngest is in the Bay Area, so he's in tech. The other 2 avoided tech.
What did they
And
do in Alaska? Yeah, what can you, and it's interesting they're both in Alaska.
Yeah, they're both in Alaska. So my daughter works for NOAA, so she's a scientist.
Oh, cool.
So she has a background in marine science, and really is amazing scientist and researcher and does a lot of stuff up there. My son does environmental science technician kind of stuff for a gold mine, the largest gold mine in the world, which is like, I was like, what? They still have gold mines? And, they do.
Hey, and
So
gold it's all about gold right now, apparently.
gold is gold, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So yeah, he helps make sure they're monitoring environmental impact. They report stuff to the state and federal agencies. And yeah, it's kind of wild. They're both very outdoorsy, so it's a perfect place for them.
That's
But my
great.
youngest son's in tech. Yeah, he's in data science and going down that path.
Were
So
you
that's
telling him
what
he'd
he's
stay
doing.
away? Did you kind of
No, I think they watched. So
they
I talk
absorb?
about this. I've written about it. I wasn't home a lot during my tech career. I worked long, long hours.
Mm,
And so I'd get home and they'd be in bed already. I'd get home at 8 o'clock at night and I'd take off in the morning. They weren't up yet. And that went on for a long time. And so
yeah.
I think they saw that and I missed a lot of stuff and I couldn't go to the beach on the weekend. I couldn't go to soccer games. I was like, no, I got to work on this thing. I have to do this report or have a call with my
Mm,
boss. And so I think they saw that. They're like,
I don't want that life.
I don't really want that life.
And the crazy thing is you're
That's
doing
not
it for
fun.
them. So much of it you're doing, at least you
Sure.
tell yourself that, right? You're doing it so they can have great lives and they can go to so they have the opportunities, and
Right.
yet
Yeah.
you're making this sacrifice. Yeah, it's very confusing.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I grew up relatively poor, and so I was like, I'm going to have a good job, and they won't lack for stuff. Although we were careful, they all had jobs, and they all worked really hard, and they're good kids. They're really good.
That's great. Well,
Yeah, it worked
congratulations.
out really well.
I mean, I should probably explain to the audience my situation in case you don't know. So I have 2 kids as well. My kids are a little younger. Well, the one is 20 and he is now in school in London and he's in his second year studying music in London. And then I have a daughter who's a sophomore in high school. So she's still around. So I guess I'm a half an empty nester. My nest is still filled, but it's half. It was not as filled as it was. And so I get anxious because I know the feeling of when
Mhm.
Elijah left the coop. And it hurt, especially so
Yeah.
far away. I mean, I'm in Los Angeles. Elijah's in London. The time difference is like 8 or 9 hours.
Yeah, that's
He might
crazy.
as well be on the moon. And he's not the best at keeping in touch anyway. So it's been a real challenge. But so
Sure.
that's my situation. So, and I know that Ella's going to be leaving in 2 years, and that's going to come so fast because we know
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
time flies at this stage of our lives. So I'm curious how what you felt, when the whole nest was empty. You obviously had a little bit of time to prepare because
Mhm.
you had kids at different levels, different ages. But
Yeah.
what did you feel in those first few months?
It was just so quiet. I
Yeah,
I would think that was the weirdest thing. Yeah, my wife and I, we just sat there, we were having our morning coffee, and we were like, "There's no sound, there's no noise, he's not getting up, he's not showering, he's not getting breakfast,
right.
he's not present." Really quiet. That's the first thing I think that hit, and then we had a moment. I mean, this went on for a few months, obviously, it takes a while to adjust. It was like, "What do we do now?" Like, we
Yeah,
have stuff, but it's like our primary purpose, and because you're so busy with kids, right?
yeah,
You're always busy dealing with some drama or something that's going on at school or whatever
they're
it
the
might
center of your
be.
lives. Yeah,
They're the center of your life. And it's like, well, now what?
yeah,
And how do we continue to make sure that we're part of their lives and that we're really engaged and spending time together and that we're always there for them. But obviously, we're not going to be the helicopter parent stuff anymore. And so, yeah, it took a few months, I think, to kind of get used to that and get used to being a couple again. So
Yeah,
we
that's
were like, oh, I forgot. We used to be a couple.
I mean, it's sad to say, but it's like I mean, I feel pieces of this because also as your kids get older, they start being more independent anyway. So even
Sure.
though
Yeah.
Ella's a sophomore, now her friends are driving. She's about to start to drive. She's not around as much. And Diane and my wife and I have been spending a lot more time together just alone in the house.
Yeah.
And I think it's a strange feeling. It's like we haven't felt this in 18, 21
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so what did you guys do to kind of reconnect? I mean, what?
Yeah. So we made an intentional effort to do that. So we started something a few years ago where every Wednesday I take off from work. I block my calendar. She keeps her calendar free, and we both work independently. We don't have jobs, and so we're pretty flexible, which is good. And we just go somewhere. We go hiking all day. We go skiing. We go on a date all day.
Mhm. It's
It is
great.
like an all-day date. It's like we go out and we hike and we go get lunch and then we'll go somewhere else. And like we had sushi this Wednesday and went
Mm,
exciting. Went to Trader Joe's and Costco. But anyway,
so fun. Come on, for
I,
for Gen
I love
Xers.
Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we've made a conscious effort, and usually that night, and then tonight we're going to do it too. We go see live music. So
Oh,
we've
that's great.
really been reconnecting with live music, local bands and stuff like that. So we're dating again, which is cool. And we're like, oh, we still like each other. This is great.
Yeah. It's interesting because I do think, I mean, hopefully not me, but some couples, after the kids go, it comes to a head in some way,
Yeah.
their relationship. Like
Yeah.
it really crystallizes either whether you're going to be together or whether
Yeah.
maybe like you were just hanging in there for the kids.
Right. Yeah. I think people can grow apart because you're busy. I had a career and she was with the kids, and you grow apart and you do very different things. It also, I think, what helped early, even when I left corporate, we both started working out together. So we went to the gym together. And so
Yeah.
we started running together and going to the gym together and getting back into shape and being healthy again. So we were really committing to doing stuff together, and we found we enjoy each other's company. And we sit every morning, have coffee, and chat about what's going on in the news. And I pull up Substack, and it's like, whoa, guess what just happened?
Right.
Uh, so yeah, a lot of my friends' parents did divorce right after the kids left, like clockwork.
Yeah.
Last kid out, parents got divorced, and that was the way it was. My parents are divorced. Um, and so I don't know. We kind of said we don't want to go down that path. I can't imagine dating at this age. We
I
both laugh about it. We're like,
I mean,
no.
I can't imagine it either. I'm in a men's group, and there's a few guys that are my age that have left have had divorces and are dating.
Yeah.
And it's so different, obviously, now than it was. It's all
Yeah.
about Bumble and all these websites and apps. The good and bad news. The good news is they're pretty active. Like there's a lot of like people
I
willing
bet.
to date them. Like their stock is pretty high in the market. Impressed me. I mean, one guy, he was saying, I can't imagine what this is going to be like, and then it ended up being incredible. So
That's good.
there
That's good.
are, but I think that it really everything gets very crystallized when
Yeah.
major transition, and it's a transition that you really don't have a chance to prepare for. It's kind of like when you have kids, like nobody tells you exactly how much your life is going to change. There's no way to really understand it until you actually go through it. And in the beginning, the first few months, you're kind of pretending almost like it just hasn't happened. You're bringing your kid to brunch.
Yeah.
And all these things
We did that too.
Remember that? And
Oh,
all
yeah.
these things, and all of a sudden you're like, nope, life is not the same anymore. Like at
No,
all. And you
no.
start having different friends and just a different
Yeah.
social. So did you feel like you prepared yourself well for the transition of empty nesting, or did you feel like you could have done it better?
We had it in bits and pieces, kind of like yourself. It's like, well, one kid left. Yeah, you
Yeah.
still have two at
Nice.
home. It's like, okay, and she visits and we go see her. And then two, and you're like, it was already weird just having one kid at home.
Yeah.
That he was like, I don't want all of your attention. It's
Right.
like,
Go away.
go call the other kids.
Right.
So you get little pieces of it, definitely. And he was driving and going, hanging out with his friend. And so we had time alone. So I think we eased into that a little bit. Um, Nothing can really prepare you for that. I think it's the loss of purpose, like not even purpose, but focus. Like you have a primary focus. And then when that's kind of gone, it's almost like you were walking into the wind and the wind stops blowing.
Hmm.
And you just stumble forward for a few steps, like, whoa, 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 now what? And so I don't know if you can ever prepare for that. Just like when people talk about retiring, like full blown retirement, and they're like, I can't wait. No,
Yeah.
no more anything. And then they stop and they're like, what do I do with my life now?
Yeah.
I don't know who I am anymore. It's like I've been defined by something else. And I
Yeah.
think it's the same with leaving a corporate job. You've been defined by this job and this title, and this is who I am and what I do. And when that's gone, you have to take months, sometimes years to be like, who am I? And the same with I'm a parent and this is what I do. But
Yeah.
you're still a parent, but you're not that involved like that anymore. It's like, well, who am I? What do I
Right.
do?
Well, because all your conversations used to revolve around, like what are the kids up to? And it's like if you'd ask me right now, I mean, I still talk about my older, but he's like, I know much less about what he's doing. I'm not as involved
Oh
with his
yeah.
life. I mean, he's
Yeah.
6,000 miles away right now, asleep probably somewhere. Hopefully not on a park bench. I mean, I don't know. He's so far away.
It is London.
It is London. I don't
That's
know where
a bit
he
of a
is.
party city.
I know. But yeah, so there's no real way to prepare. I mean, so in a way, there's no advice we can give people about other than it's going to be hard, but it's actually, I mean, there is light at the end of that tunnel, right? Like it's also kind of a nice transition, I think, for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think it is. I think you have to admit, yes, it's a loss. You're going to feel sad. There's going to be part of you that's out in the world. And it's a very strange feeling to have someone you care about so much, so far away, and you can't do anything to take care of them.
Yeah.
Like we've had kids get really sick remotely, and we're like, "Oh," it's like,
Yeah.
so we get cell phone numbers of friends and stuff. And we call and they take them to the hospital and we're like, oh, thank God. It's just so.
In Alaska, like I feel like it would not be, there's no direct flight, I don't know. Well, maybe there is from where you are, but
You can get there pretty quick, but still, yeah.
Yeah.
We recently had that happen and we went up and luckily we have a flexible life. And so we just went up and spent 6 weeks with our kid and they got out of the hospital but scary, right? But there is definitely light at the end of the tunnel because you get to be yourself again. It's kind of this reconnecting with who you are. And I say the same thing about leaving a corporate job. It's a little disconcerting at first. And you're like, who am I? But when you reconnect with who you are, then all of a sudden it's like the world's your oyster. It really does feel like that. Like, holy cow, I can do anything I want today. I can do whatever. I can read a book. I can go work out and go get sushi. I can start a
Sometimes
business.
people don't like that freedom. Like sometimes people want, parameters or they want constraints.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I think sometimes people take these corporate jobs is because the idea of working for themselves and having to make all their own decisions and having to
Sure.
take on that stress is a lot. But how do you help people find their whole person again after such
It's literally, I just had a call this morning with someone, very same situation. They moved overseas, they left corporate, lovely and exciting life. And they're like, now what? What do I do?
Yeah.
And I have this exercise. I tell people it's like writing the story of you, where you go back all the way to your earliest childhood memories and you start to just capture ideas and notes of who was I? What did I enjoy doing? What was I always good at doing? What did I gravitate to? What did I not like doing? And talking with friends and family that are still around, like your parents, if they're still around, siblings, people have really known you, and getting that feedback because we can't see ourselves. It's really hard to see yourself. So a good friend or a loved one that's known you for a while can look at you and say, you've always been good at this, or you've always enjoyed this. And you're basically just capturing it all And I call it kind of this exercise of taking the Lego pieces,
Mm.
deconstructing your corporate career into little Lego pieces. So you're not looking at a high level job description, but at the little tiny pieces of what were you actually doing? What were you good at doing? And now you have this and you can recombine it. And you
Yeah.
can say, instead of it being a spaceship, I'm going to make a pirate ship. And maybe I need a few more pieces I have to get. And I'm going to go back and take a class at a community college, or I'm going to learn online, or whatever it might be. But now you have that opportunity to recombine all these things that you're good at doing, enjoy doing, have experience doing in different ways. And you can say, I could do this. I could pivot careers and go get a different job. And I have friends who've done that they've gone from tech into the restaurant industry. You could start a business, you could do whatever. But now you have choice, which most of us feel like we kind of went down, I call it the cattle chute
Yeah.
of education and college and career. And before you know it, you're like, I can't think of anything else to do with my life. This is all I do.
Right. Nobody ever thinks about that middle part, or the last part really. But like, yeah. And I think we were sort of sold a bill of goods in a way as Gen Xers, that you do it this way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're going to end up
and you retire.
and then you retire, whatever that means. But you didn't think
Yeah.
about retirement, but you just know, you go get your college education, you get a job, you work your way up to the top. Then, hopefully you have a nice family and blah, blah, blah. It's like every movie that you watch, every television show had that sort of model,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
in some cases your own family. I mean, my knock on wood, my parents were together. My dad died very young, so I kind of changed things, but just watching that, and then you realize that is not actually what's going on at all. Like, I think
No.
we find ourselves in our 50s, and some of us, need to change jobs, have lost our jobs, don't have enough to retire, are trying to reinvent ourselves in the mid 50s. And it's just not at all. And this is where people like you come in to help, at least help focus
Sure.
us.
Yeah.
Or do you find that, I mean, maybe there's light at the end of the tunnel, where maybe there's some good in what seems like a terrible situation, that when your kids leave, that some of your clients, in some ways, it's a wake-up call for them, and it's a good thing, because they were kind of putting too much of their identity into their children, and now that they're gone and can't do that, now they actually are kind of forced to really confront like who they are and what they want to be.
Yeah. I think it can be a very good thing, because I think you put a lot of your dreams on the shelf.
Yeah.
There's things that many of us wanted to do, and we were told, like, well, you can't make a living doing that, and that's not profitable enough. And so I know you want to do that, but that's a childhood dream. Forget it. You're not going to write a book. You're not going to be in a band. You're not going to be on stage in a play. Forget it. Get to work. And so I think when your kids leave, and especially when they get their own jobs, and it's like, okay, now they're self-sufficient. Now you can start to question, do I really need this job to provide this level of income? Or can I dial back and do something different? And I have friends who are literally downshifting. They said, yeah, I was an exec. I was making a ton of money. I hated it. And I felt like I couldn't stop, and my kids needed it for college, but now they're done.
So I can't
I
make
don't
that
need to
excuse
do
anymore.
that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a simpler job, way less stressful. It's going to be clock in, clock out, and I'm going to actually go do what I really want to do. And so some of them are doing stand-up comedy. Some of them are in bands. They're writing books. They're traveling. They're learning how to cook. One is becoming a chef. It's like, how cool. So you could actually take that dream off the shelf that you thought you never could revisit and say, why not? Life is short. When am I going to do it if I don't do it now?
What about
Never.
what about the people who are not ready, did not have the luxury of, being able to be in a band, because even if their kids grow up, they still need to pay for their kids' college, or, it's still, they still need to make ends meet, which I feel like is, there are probably the majority of people are probably more in that situation. Me included. So how do you kind of transition to doing what you would make you happier and more fulfilled, but also being responsible about, financial considerations, etc.?
Sure. Yeah. You got to manage it. I remember this book I discovered. I was young. I was probably 19 when I found this book, Your Money or Your Life.
Yeah.
Old book. Been reprinted many times and updated. And I remember reading, there's a chart that just sticks in my mind. That's like, you have the income line and you have the expenses line.
Mm-hmm.
And if you continue to do this, which we all do, and I did too, I'm making more money. I'm going to spend more money. I'm going to get a bigger house. I'm going to get a nice car. We're going to go to Hawaii. And so it's all fun and games until all of a sudden that income line drops.
Mm.
And even not your choice, but hello, how many layoffs have there been this year in tech? My friends who are making, some of them close to a total of $1 million comp every year, all of a sudden gone. And they're older. So they're like, uh-oh, I can't seem to get a job. Nobody wants to hire me. So you really have to take a hard look. It's not fun, but it's life at your expense line and your total, I call it the burn rate, which is kind of a geeky business word, but you have to look at that. And we deliberately downshifted and said, moving out of the Bay Area into a smaller community, still in California, way more affordable. We got a house that was half the size, which was fine, because now we still have rooms we don't go into. And it's like, we probably should downshift again.
Yeah.
So we really, really, really cut our expenses considerably, which gave me more breathing room to say, I don't have to make executive money if I don't live an executive lifestyle.
Yeah.
And initially it felt like, oh, I'm denying myself all this joy and pleasure. And it's like, actually not. Within a few months, like 6 months, I was like, I kind of like never having to go talk to a boss. I kind of like just going for a hike every Wednesday and no one tells me I can't. Right. And so do I have a Ferrari in the driveway? No. Do I care? No. I'm way happier now. So that's the thing, is you have to manage both. Yeah, you got to make money. You should always be trying to get paid as much as you're worth. Always. When I coach people, I was like, don't put up with a job that is extracting value from you, but not returning value. And they do. So if you've been somewhere, and the research shows this, longer than 2 years, you're probably not getting paid what you're worth. No. That's a very different mentality than boomers and Gen X, where we were like, you're loyal, you stay in a company, you might retire. Man, the people I'm coaching now bounce every 2 to 3 years.
That's the thing now.
They don't care. They're like, fine,
Right. I'm moving.
And you get more money every time. And I tell people, be mercenary about that, because they sure are. They're going to lay you off in a heartbeat. So every time you move, it's a promotion and a raise. And every time I did, it was a promotion and a raise. And so you make more money. Bank it. Invest it. My son is an aggressive investor. He's 22 and he's already super aggressive, because he said, I want to retire at 30, 35. He goes, I'm sick of this already. And so super aggressive with his investments. He saves every penny.
That's my biggest regret, is that I didn't do that, is that I didn't have somebody telling me to do that early on in my life.
Yeah, I didn't either. We were not
I don't think
educated.
We were told about like 401ks and and that always seemed like a bill of goods. That did seem like bullshit to me. I remember being in a meeting and we were learning about our 401k, and I was working at this English company, and I mean, it was a publishing company of its own, and a lot of the guys were from England, and they were like, what is this? They didn't like it. They didn't trust it. And the American people were like, oh, no, this is what it is. And like, well, what about the pension part?
Until Enron came around, right?
So I mean, it was so anyway, so I think that's good advice to give your kids, is to learn how to invest right now and put money away. I know I hear one of the guys I really like is Scott Galloway. I don't know if you follow him at all, but he was very bullish about that, and just being smart about investing early on in your life, and then giving. Did you give your kids some sort of capital that they could invest after they got, like, do you have enough income to do that, like to give them something so that they can?
Not really, no. There were times we helped them out with stuff. And so it's like their car and we never bought new cars. We bought them a used car that was like a nice Volkswagen, very dependable.
Right.
And something happens. That's the nature of it. Right. And so it's like, oh, $2,000 repair. It's like, don't worry about it. We got you a used car. You're working really hard and all that stuff. And they're really good. They actually borrow money, but then they pay us back, which is,
that's great. You raised kids. No, I mean, my kids are actually good about that too. Or at least my son is. We don't know about my daughter yet. She's too young, but my son is very responsible. So that's great. And how do you think, they became that way. I mean, sometimes you just luck out. But was that an
Sure.
example that you left for them? You know,
We were always money conscious. My wife is way better at this than I am. I was a little
aren't they
more of,
always?
I want to buy a new kayak. And she's
Yeah,
like, do
exactly.
you really need a kayak? And
Right.
so she's really good at managing our expenses. And we never lost that edge, especially her. She says, like, even when we were making really good money, she's like, we're not going to burn through this money. We're going to pay down our house. We're going to put into investments or whatever. Right. And so they saw her every week. They spent a lot of time with her being smart with money and being frugal and asking the question, do I really need this? Do I really need this? And most of the answer is no, I don't really need this. So I think they watched that. I was always entrepreneurial, even from a young age. So I constantly talked with them all the time. Like, we'd be out and I'd say, that's a business opportunity.
Oh, that's cool.
You could do this. You could actually buy this and sell this, or look, they need a service to do this. That's a business opportunity. They're like, Dad, everything's not a business opportunity.
Right. Not everything is monetizable.
But now they're very entrepreneurial. And so
you have to be.
they all have side hustles and they do this stuff and they're thinking, because I told them, I said, no job is dependable. You can't trust a job anymore. No way.
Right.
It's like you could have that job eliminated tomorrow and they won't care. So I said, be thinking always, like, what am I doing next? What could I do on the side that builds a business? And I said, you don't have to put a lot of time into it, but think about what it is going to be for you so that you lose a job or you decide, I don't want to do this anymore. You can actually go all in on your business and you could survive and be okay. And so they're always kind of thinking about stuff like that. So we talked about stuff like that all the time.
Yeah, that's great.
So I think that's where it came from.
Yeah, that's terrific. Let's talk about, I think, how much you should be in touch with your kids or how much you should expect your kids to be in touch with you. I think, it's funny because I think of my own experience in college. I don't remember calling my parents that much when I was in college or really letting them in that much on what was going on when I was in school. And it was a different time and we had a different relationship with our parents. I mean, I definitely checked in with them and I went to school, 2.5 hours by car from them. I went to Connecticut and they were in New York. And so I wasn't as far away as, say, my son is, who's in London and I'm in LA, as I said. So, but I think there was like, we made a conscious effort to say, like, we were going to check in every Sunday morning. Like, we're going to do a WhatsApp FaceTime call every Sunday. And he seems to like that. But, there are times I think a lot of parents kind of want to hear more from them. They have an anxious feeling of like wanting to check in. Do you think you should, like, what do you think is the general rules that you should set around that for yourself, so you don't, because of course you want to know every minute what's going on for you. Like, I mean, I would love to know. I mean, I want to talk every day, but I would love him to check in more than once a week and be like, oh my God, you wouldn't believe what happened today. In some ways I'm just living vicariously through him because it's like, this kid is
exactly. It's exciting.
What he's doing. But it's, I also want to be like, I don't want to be that dad. I mean,
right.
Yeah. So what do you advise there?
I was very much like you. I mean, it used to, the younger people listening probably won't believe it, but we were like, I'd make collect calls and we'd hang up, it's like, they're alive.
I know, just to make sure that you're alive.
I had a calling card that they would fund so I could call them because it was expensive. Long distance calls were
long
expensive.
distance were expensive. It's true.
So we barely talked because of that, right? We wrote letters back.
Yeah, that's true. We wrote
hands.
I went to Japan the first year after college, and so that was really, I mean, that was before, it was extremely expensive, and it was letters. So it would just be letters.
You wrote letters. Yeah.
By the way, letters were kind of a wonderful.
I know. I still have them. I still have a box of old letters. It's just like, how cool. We definitely, there's a couple of things. My wife is, again, she's much better at this than I am. She always says, and I think she's right. She says the burden of reaching out and doing things is on the parent because the kids are busy. They have lives, but you don't want to be a pest either. So you don't like I'm going to call you every single day and that kind of thing. We do really lightweight kind of connecting constantly. So we're all on a group text and we have a Discord that we set up for the family, a private Discord. Okay. So we get into the habit almost every day, somebody sharing just a photo from their day. It's like they're on a hike or a picture of their dog or they got lunch and it was really good. This, Indian place. And we just drop little what they call this, pebbling, I think, that penguins bring little pebbles to each other.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that's the name for it. So we pebble. I send them stuff on Instagram, I do whatever, and so we send stuff every day. There's something, and we're just kinda touching on little things. So photos, funny things, here's something to read, whatever. We do a family game thing through Discord, so you can be on voice and you can play a game. So we
Oh,
do some online game, like some trivia game or code words, which is one of our games we love to play. We're a gaming family, so we like to play games, and so we'll all get on headsets and we're talking and gaming and making fun of each other and the usual
oh,
stuff.
that's awesome.
So we try to do that probably every couple of weeks. My wife does a lot of calls. So my daughter calls my wife almost every day on her commute. So she's driving back and she just calls her and says, "Hey, I'm driving home," and they
I
talk,
get jealous. Yeah, I feel like they tend to want to call mom more than dad.
Yeah, unless there's a problem. I get a
Unless
lot of
there's a
those
problem
calls.
financially. I mean, it's funny because we have different roles. Like my mom, yeah, Diana is sort of like any problem you're gonna send it to mom. But and any kind of like financial issue, but dad is more like, you know, fun, like the fun, I heard this really good song. At least with my son, it's very much
Yeah,
more talking.
yeah,
Our whole relationship is about music, so which is
that's
lovely.
cool. Yeah,
But what ends up happening is he'd much rather have that conversation with mom because those are more like the urgent conversations. Like, we just like he just had a plumbing emergency. Of course, the first person he's going to call is his mom, not dad, about that, which is probably
oh,
good. But I still get jealous.
yeah. I get the mechanical ones. It's always like, "My car's doing this," or "This broke," or "My computer's not
Oh,
doing
really?
it." I'm the fix it guy.
You're the
My
fix it.
my extended family is like, "So, hey, how you doing? My AirPods." I'm like, "Ugh," like
Oh
tech
God,
support.
you're the tech guy because you're the
I'm the
Silicon
tech
Valley guy.
support guy.
Yeah,
So I get
that's
those
funny.
calls. Yeah. We're
Well,
all also on Life 360 and we all share a location with each other.
oh, that's cool.
So we always know, and they wanted that because they do a lot of remote hiking in
Mhm.
Alaska. So they're like, "I want you to know where I am. So if I don't check in, you know where to send help."
Oh
And
yeah.
so
Of course.
we do that.
I had a guy on the podcast, another podcast I do. He wrote a whole book about this, but his son was hiking in Costa Rica and just disappeared. I mean, it's like a
Oh,
total nightmare. Yeah.
that's
Um,
terrifying.
and they
Yeah.
still can't figure out exactly what happened.
Oh,
Can you imagine? So,
no.
uh, I want to talk about advice. That giving advice to your kids. I think this is something
Mm,
that I think some parents struggle with because
yeah.
you know, um, at this stage, your kids, you're watching your kids maybe make choices, and it sounds like you have great kids, so this is maybe not the case so much with your kids, but you watch your kid making choices that you think, man, maybe this
Oh,
instead,
yeah.
or you kind of know they're messing
Sure.
up, or you just want to give advice, even if they're not making mistakes. You're like, oh, I've got this great idea. Like maybe you heard a podcast and somebody said something about, in my case, the music business, because my kid is going into the music business. It's like, I want to tell them that, but at
Mm,
the same time, I remember how annoying it was when my parents used to give me advice. I mean, a lot of times it was, and I and
sure.
I
Yeah.
and I want, and I know that it's both annoying and also not always so helpful, because
Sure.
they need to learn
Yeah.
this stuff on their own anyway. Um, Sometimes. So, how do you balance, being the Yoda mentor with your kid and also just letting them, mess up or make their own choices? Like that must
Yeah.
be hard because
Yeah.
you make a career of giving advice and helping
Yeah.
people and
Yeah.
guiding people, and but like sometimes my wife is a therapist, and I think that she also kind of falls into therapist mode sometimes with the kids. But you
Mhm,
can't be your
mhm.
kid's therapist, so if
Right.
you're already, so how do you find that balance?
Yeah. We try to look at what's happening and say, "What's the worst that could happen?"
Yeah.
Is it a catastrophic thing? So it's something catastrophic where it's like, "This could be really bad," then we'll say, "We should talk about this." And there's not too many things that fall into that, but occasionally there can be something where it's like, "This could be pretty catastrophic, and we should talk." Um The other times, it's funny, they would probably listen to this. They read my newsletters, and I don't realize they read them, but they are because 'cause I'll occasionally say something, and so I've learned that I'm kind of giving advice to my kids through my newsletter, which is funny, and I often think of that with my life one especially, where it's like, "This is something I'd like to share with them, but I'm not gonna beat them over the head with it. I'll dump it in the newsletter." And if they read it, they read it, and maybe someday after I'm gone, they might go through this stuff and read it and be like, "Oh, there's some useful stuff in here." Because as you get older, suddenly your parents aren't as stupid as they used to be, which is
Yeah.
funny.
I don't know
That kind
when
of
that
happens.
age transitions. Right now, we're pretty stupid. I think maybe
Yeah.
we're kind of starting to realize that maybe we have some wisdom. There's phases, right? First, you're like
Yes.
everything to them. Then there's like, my parents know nothing. And then there's like, and it's like the different
Yeah.
phases. But I
Yeah.
remember there was a phase where I couldn't wait to like have lunch with my
Oh,
dad. You know,
yeah.
I loved
Yeah.
it. I
For
love
me, it
talking.
was 25. I kind of at 25, all of a sudden I was like, wow, my dad knows stuff. But
Yeah,
before that, my dad knows nothing,
right.
nothing at
They don't
all.
understand me. They don't understand.
Yeah. We
Yeah,
often just kind of put it out there as an offer and we say, if you ever want to talk about this, you can. And that's it. That's all we ever say. We don't offer. And they have come to me. It's kind of cool. My sons and my daughter has come to me and they're like, oh, I have this job interview or this opportunity. And what do you think I should do? How should I approach this? And so they'll ask for advice and then they go off and do their life and do whatever, right? Um, so really it's just making an open door policy, almost like I was as a boss. It's like, I'm not going to go sit in your cube and harass you, but I want you to know if you ever want to come talk to me, you can. And the hardest part, I think, is that judgment-free thing, right? Where it's
yeah,
like, I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to go, oh, what the hell were you thinking? I'm just going to listen. That whole thing that I have to get better at, which is, do you want me to just listen and be compassionate, or do you want some advice? Which would help you right now
yeah.
in
Ask them.
resisting. Yeah,
Yeah, because
exactly.
sometimes like, are you just kind of like bouncing things off on me right now, or do you really want advice? I mean, it's the same conversations you have with your wife. I mean, times my
Yeah,
wife will come to me with a lot of problems, but she doesn't really want solutions. She just wants that for me to be the sort of like
yeah, yeah,
dumping ground of her problems, which is fine. But of course, guys' instincts is always to fix problems.
yeah.
We see a nail, we're a hammer.
I know. Yeah, yeah. It takes a long time to overcome that. It really
Yeah.
does. Yeah,
So, do you did a article or a podcast with your wife of actually about empty nesting at one point,
I
and
did. Yeah,
you guys
yeah.
talked about myths around. Do you remember that some of the things that people believe empty nesting is going to be, but really actually isn't now that you've gone through it? Do you remember some of those so we could avoid?
Oh, one, yeah, which I hear all the time. It's like, must be nice parenting. You're done. You're done with parenting. That's the biggest myth. It's like, no, I'm not done with parenting. It's like it's just different parenting. In
Right.
some ways, harder parenting because you can't just fix it. You can't just go in and put a band-aid on their knee and go get them an ice cream and everything's better. There's the broken heart stuff. Oh my goodness. That's the hardest. It's like their hearts get broken and there's nothing you can do about it. And it just hurts.
Oh man, I haven't been. Oh, actually, I
Hurts so
haven't.
bad.
Yeah,
Uh,
that is
so
hard.
yeah. Or
And you
their
just yeah,
boss
that's
is
very
mistreating them. And it's like, I can't go to work and punch their boss in the face. So it's like,
right. Helpless.
so yeah, it's different. It's not necessarily easier. So I keep hearing that from people like, oh, it must be so much easier and you're done. It's like, I'm not done. Because it's somebody you love.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're not done. If
In
your
some ways,
friend
it's harder because you really have
yeah.
less control over,
Yeah.
like, you can't call their teachers and, the things you used to be able to do back in the old
Yeah,
days.
no
You could call
control.
their parents
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
friends they're not getting along with. And yeah, there was ways you could intervene that you just can't when they're out of the nest.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's probably the biggest one that is you're done. Right. And I think kind of related to that is thinking your kids no longer need you, which I think that there can be that feeling too, where it's like, okay, they've got a job, they're off living their lives. They don't need me anymore. But they did before, right? It's like, no, they need something different. Like
Yeah,
you said, a sounding board. Somebody who unconditionally loves and supports them. When do you have that in life?
right.
Ever, except for your dog, maybe. But it's like,
What do you do though
when?
when you unconditionally support them and yet they come to you with like they want to take a job is the wrong job, or they want to
Mhm.
marry somebody who's this. I mean, I hope they
Yeah.
never have to deal with this, but they have a partner and everybody around them knows this is the absolute
Oh, yeah.
biggest mistake they could ever make, right?
We've been through that. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have, and how do you tell them without being like, controlling and, because you love them so much and,
Yeah.
it's the
Yeah.
same thing, I guess, when you have a friend that is doing
Sure.
a mistake. You don't want to be, also like it's hard with a partner because you could say, oh, we don't like that person. And then they'll kind of keep that person away from you and you won't see your kid as much because they
Exactly.
know that
Yeah.
you hate their spouse or whatever, their partner.
Yeah.
So what do you
Yeah.
advise? Sorry, these are hard questions, but I
It
don't
is. It is. No, we've been through that. And you just have to stay super close because the more the whole lead a horse to water thing, the more you try to tell somebody what to do, if they're smart and they have a backbone, they dig their heels in. They're like, "Oh, really? I'll show you, and I'm
Mhm.
going to make it work." And so
Yeah.
you can't tell them. It's their life, so you can't tell them what to do with their life. And so the hardest thing I think is dealing with that. One is there's a couple of things. One, I try to give them tools, more of an objective thing, saying, "Oh, okay, you're thinking about this job or that job. Here's a way to evaluate it." And it includes a whole bunch of ways to think through the questions and the attributes and like, what's this going to be like? What's the outcome? What's the worst that could happen? What's the best that could happen? So it's like, I want you to make the decision, but I'm going to give you a set of tools that I didn't have. I wish I did to think through it. So I think that helps a little bit. I do a lot of storytelling.
Mm.
Um, and so I have so many horrible stories from my own life of failed relationships and jobs and bosses. And
Yeah, that's a good way
so
to
I
do it.
can do that. We go out for a drink. They're all in their 20s. So we go out for a drink and we get away from the house, which I think helps. We've also found this is an interesting phenomenon. They don't like when both of us are there and we kind of feel like they're teaming up on them. They're
Mhm.
like, "It feels like you're teaming up on me. Like you're both like grilling me about this person or this whatever." And they feel attacked. None of them like that. And so we go solo. So either I do it or my wife does it. It's like, let's just go for a drive or go for a drink and we'll talk. And I tell a story, and I've done a lot of this where it's like, I don't know if you know, but I was dating this person and it was okay at first, but then it kind of went south. And this is what was happening. And I wish I'd listened to the warning signs. And I said, there are some red flags I've learned since then. And that's why I'm so happy to be with your mom now because of this, this, and this. And so I don't beat them over the head with it. And the same with the job thing where I had a boss like this once. And I have those stories because I had some bad stuff. And so I do a lot of storytelling and
Yeah.
I don't even bother drawing the parallels. They're smart. It's like they'll figure out what they want to figure out. But I just do that. And I like, if you ever want to talk about anything, I'm here.
Yeah. Um, Looking back, I'd love to, in your experience, raising your kids and then the empty nesting transition, I'd love to know what you feel like you did wrong and what you did right. Like if you could do it over again, what you might change, but also what you did right. It sounds like you did a lot right because you got great kids, but
Uh,
as-
Great kids and a great wife. Yeah.
great,
Lucky man.
right.
I'm
Yeah, you
lucky.
made some good choices. But what did you, well, let's start with wrong. We'll start with the bad first and then what you got right. So what would you do differently that you'd like to advise people to do differently?
Yeah. I think me personally, what I get wrong is I often feel like a bother. And so I
Mm,
don't want to bother them in
mm,
checking in because I'm kind of that way. I'm very introverted. And
yeah,
so I wait for them to reach out and text me or to say, hey, let's have a call. And I'm really terrible about initiating. My wife's great at it. So I think I did that wrong. I think I should have initiated a lot more,
mm,
just even conversations or say, hey, do you want to talk and set up a call? I always felt like a bother, and I need to get over that and stop feeling like that. So I think that because people can say no. So the
yeah,
thing, and this is harder, I think, for older people, is they just call you, and I hate just getting a call. It's like text me and say, "Hey, you free for a
yeah,
call?" And I'll say
right,
yes or no. Um, we do a lot of asynchronous, which I think helps. And so it's like answer the text when you have time. Don't worry about it. It's not urgent. Nothing like that. So I think I did that wrong, definitely. Um, I think we try to maintain that balance of like hands off. You got to learn and make mistakes. And I don't want to be interfering in too deep in your life. There have been times I feel like we maybe should have been a little more in it,
mm,
a little more in it, not interfering, but a little more dialed into the relationships that they were in
right,
and seeing that dynamic. Because by the time we saw the dynamic, like they came to our house for a visit, I was like, this doesn't seem healthy.
yeah,
This is worse than I thought. This is not good. I wish I'd known about this sooner. So I think being better, and we are trying to be better about that now. where we go to visit and we want to meet who they're dating. Like, let's go out to dinner. Let's have, I want to see how they interact with you. And I want to see how they talk with me and how we talk. And then, are they a good person? Are they authentic? Or do I feel like there's something going on?
Yeah.
So I think we're a little more dialed into that now than we used to be. We didn't want to be the interfering, meddling parents, but I think we should have been closer to gather data.
Yeah, just to
I wish I'd done
not
that
to let them
more.
be completely on their own. So what did you do right? Sounds like most of this is what you did right, but
I'd say a lot of the right was my wife, she does a lot of calls. I think setting up the asynchronous stuff was a good thing.
What do you mean?
So setting up,
like
the group chat and the Discord,
right?
So it's much better for a younger person than we're going to have a family call, and they're like, I'm busy. I'm going to be doing their lives are very chaotic.
Yeah.
So it's hard, and mine is too. And so it's a little hard. So I think setting that up was great. So now they just feel very low pressure. They just drop a picture of sushi. Hey, I just had some great sushi. And we feel connected. It's really nice. So it's our own little private social network, right? That was right. That was really good. The game stuff is right. We did a lot of game nights as a family, and they're going to come visit us for the holidays, and they're like, we're going to play games, right? And we do a lot of gaming.
Gaming is a great idea. We don't, because that's a way to be social and find out stuff without putting this pressure. Like, so what are you doing? Same
it just comes up.
We've had since preschool, where it's like, so how was your day today? It's so hard. You always say that to them, and from preschool to the time they're now, you're always you wanting to get information out of them, because they don't always share stuff. And it's like, but gaming is great because it'll come up sort of naturally rather than
play a low cognitive load game like cards. And
cards is good, right? So then
it's just like, chatting, right?
That girlfriend of yours,
No, that helps. That helps. Like that. And visiting a lot. We visit, especially now. It's like we have the time, and I intentionally chose this life for this reason. I left corporate, and my wife didn't take a 9-to-5 job. We intentionally chose very flexible businesses where I can just do it anywhere. And I did. I went to Alaska, and we were there for 6 weeks. And so getting to visit them, this is interesting. It's very different to be in your child's environment than bringing them to yours. You see them as an adult, and they act like an adult. And it's cool, and they feel more empowered. They're like, well, you're in my space now. You're in my apartment. You're going to my job. You're going to visit me. These are my friends. And we take a back seat.
Yeah.
And we're just like, hey, whatever you want to do is cool with us. We're very flexible. You want to go hiking? You want to go sing karaoke? We did. We went
Their
to
world. Oh, I can't wait.
Take me into your world. And it's like, how cool. I like it. I like it a lot.
That's really cool. Well, in the spring, we're visiting my son in London, which is
that's
double bonus because we get to go to London, but also to see his London, and let him take us around. And
so much fun.
Yeah.
I
can't wait. Yeah. Well, Larry, this has been really fantastic. Thank you so much. If people want to find out more about you, well, first of all, let's talk about your Substack, right? You have a Substack.
Yeah. You can find me on Substack. I think I'm the only Larry Cornett. There might be another one.
The one and only.
I have 3 different newsletters, 3 different podcasts.
It's like, you're all. That's amazing that you did that. That you went like that specific and niche. What caused you to do that? Did you? Because I think about that sometimes. Like, should I do small talk? Specifically for empty nesting, but also for pop culture. Because there's a lot of
pretty easy to do on Substack. Substack is a great platform for spin up anything, and it takes like 5 minutes. It's pretty quick. I would say I had one. And so it was a blend of like, there's career stuff and there's also business, because I'm a big believer in entrepreneurship and being able to get out of corporate and start a business. And then life stuff came into it, because I was like, I recovered my health and I went through some stuff, and I'm like, boy, you better be taking care of yourself. That job doesn't give a damn about you. And you got to be on the other side of this and want to have a good life. Right. And so I kept hearing from people, stop talking about business stuff. I just want a job. And the job people are like, quit talking about entrepreneurship, and don't ever tell me that you're working out and lifting weights. I don't give a shit. I'm like, okay, fine. Split.
People are mean.
There's a
career. Here you are giving your life. Being so honest and like, I don't want to hear about that. Shut up.
I'm sure you've seen it. Where like, I don't want to hear about your politics. It's like, okay, fine. So I split, and it's like there's career and there's business and there's life, and the life stuff, is more amorphous because it is life's like that. It covers a lot of different stuff. So that's why I did that. But people can always find me at larrycornett.coach. I've got kind of my own website, which points to everything, which makes it easy. It's just a permanent website, and I don't have to worry about stuff changing. And that's just me. I'm there forever.
That's awesome, man. Well, I'm so glad you're there. I'm glad that we've met, and
yeah, me too.
And then you're part of my Gen X cohort group.
Yes.
It meets every 2 weeks.
Which is so fun.
Yeah, it is fun. It's really interesting to talk to other people around the country about, and the world really, about what's on their mind, and to realize that you're not alone in this. I think sometimes there's just power in knowing that there's a lot of people that are going through the same stuff you are. And, we don't talk to them all the time because of, our life is such that we don't always have interaction with people that are our age. But I was very encouraged to know that I'm not crazy. There are other people going through it like us. But anyway, thank you, Larry, for all you do. And hope to have you back to talk more about life transitions and being a Gen Xer and in this time, day and age. It's really illuminating for me. So I appreciate that.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me on the show.
All right, everybody. Please feel free to subscribe to either Larry or both. Please feel free to subscribe to both. I'm at Small Talk. And we look forward to next Friday. We will have a new guest and a new topic to be determined. This is all work in progress.
Heck yeah. That's the fun.
Thanks, Larry.
All right. Thank you.